Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome back to the card closet. Well, make that the card basement today. I am down in the dungeon doing some cleaning, getting rid of some old computers here, and found my computer from 1990s and thought there was something interesting on here that I would share with you. Hopefully you can forgive the flashing on the screen and try to see the content through there. I have the refresh rate on this old monitor cranked up as high as it'll go, so I apologize for the flashing. But what I found was an old program I used to have called the Card Collector, and it was produced by a company called AbleSoft. So there's an install disk for that, a setup disk. For you younger people, this is a 3.5-inch floppy disk, very popular in the 90s. And then there were two disks that had all the data on them, and by data I mean the information of sets, what all the sets were as of 1993, and the cards that were in those sets, the player names, the player teams, everything you see online nowadays. This is pre-internet, so to get it on your computer, you actually had to go put a disk like this into your disk drive and load it onto your machine so that you had the data. And then with that purchase of that software product, I got a free update. So in January of '94, they sent me an update disk that had all the new sets, new cards included on it so that I could update my data on my computer. So I bought this program at Target back in 1993. They used to actually have a little software section where they had all these little boxes, and you'd buy your little software application in a box. There'd be these discs in the box and some kind of book, like a maintenance manual, instruction manual, and then you would go home and you'd install it on your computer. So before I get rid of this computer, I wanted to document what this old card collector program was all about. And as you can see, it includes Tough Stuff card prices. So nowadays you can go online and see what things are worth, but back then you had to load the data. And again, there was no internet, so to get the data, you had to buy it on a disk and load it in. And that was the only way for these companies to get you programs and to get you data. Nowadays, of course, it's all stored on a data cloud out there somewhere, and you just access it through the internet. So here's the program, what it looks like installed. Very simple. There's a file menu, a reports menu, and a utilities. The utilities is where you can add things that are not in the data set. So if you had some obscure set of some kind, you could add it. So I'm going to start off by opening a card set. So it shows all the possible card makers that it has in the database. So it doesn't go back pre-Bowman. So it pretty much starts in the Bowman days. So let's say I wanted to open up a top set. This is a baseball program, so that's my only option there. And then it would show me the years that Topps made sets. Let's say I wanted to enter my Carl Yastrzemski rookie card here. It says regular. If I had picked something like 1992, Topps had gold inserts, gold winners, kids, Stadium Club Dome, and Topps traded. So it knew that there were other ones besides just the regular set. But in 1961, you just had the regular. So then it loads in the set. And it starts with card number 1. It tells you that it's a Pittsburgh Pirates card, and it's Dick Groat, and it's worth $18 according to Tough Stuff magazine at the time that they cut this disc. So it also shows a little green backgrounded $sign if that card is worth more than the average card of that set. So if I wanted to put this card in my set, I would include I would click on this Include Plus. But I want to find Carl Yastrzemski. So here's where, this is where 1993 technology, if it hasn't already disgusted you, it will now. So for me to find Carl Yastrzemski, I can't just do a search. I have to do a quick drag down and hopefully I can see his name there. Or I just go click like this and click down through the set, card 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. And you got to find the card you're looking for. Hopefully you've got that card with you. Like when I use this, I'd have my cards in a stack and I would just, go numerically down through the list and enter in the ones I had. Let's just find actually anything that looks interesting. How about that Cubs team card? So I'm going to click the Increase Plus, which includes it in my collection. You can see that my quantity here now went to 1. And so now I just told this computer that I have one of that Cubs team card from 1961. Let's go to 1990, the traded set. And let's say I've got that Cecil Fielder card and I've got 2 of it. So I'll do include twice, increase twice, I guess. And then it tells me I've got 2 of it for a net total of 50 cents. I've also done this a bit with other cards before I started recording here. So there's some other cards I've included. The data from my collection back in 1993 was no longer here because I actually installed this on a different computer. The one I had back in 1993 is long gone. So Fleer, let's say you want to enter that that Roger Clemens. If it's easy to find here. I don't know the card number off the top of my head, but let's say we're going to go with Bill Buckner. And I'm going to add that to my set. It was worth $1 at that time. Sometimes these prices are kind of interesting to take a peek at. And so that's how you would enter your cards into your collection. And you just do this for hours if you had a big stack like I did. And you get them all in there and it tells you what they were worth, at that moment in time. But without these update discs, without getting these periodically and loading in the updated prices and updated sets, you are stuck with what you had. So 1995 comes along, 1996 comes along, you've got these new cards. They're not in this program because they were never loaded in. So I don't know if you youngsters can grasp that concept, but there just was no way to hook to a server and hook to the internet and pull data down. You could only get things on your computer by buying a disk that somebody had produced, put in a box, shipped it to a store, you buy it off the shelf and load it in. That's the way you would get data in. So there was nothing real time at all. This data, these disks probably had been cut months before I loaded them. So that was cutting edge at that time. And then you can run different reports and stuff based on the set you're in. But if you're out at the main screen level here, you can go into the reports menu. You can look at the contents of sets. You can select which set you want to look at, the year, the type, the name of the set, and you could actually display a checklist of it. This is how you found your checklist. So this is the 1992 Ultra checklist. So if you were a set collector and you were going to a card show, you would print this out and then you'd go through and you'd maybe, highlight the ones that you had or needed or whatever your mechanism was. And then you'd have these pieces of paper, this 8.5 by 11 typing paper that had all this printed out on it. And and you bring that along with you. And that's how you would know what to look for at the card show. Another thing you could do here is you could take a look at what you've got. So after you have everything entered in, you can look at your full inventory and it will tell you, like I want to give the inventory of all my cards, all sets, all years. You'll see this There we go. Status is complete. So it's telling me I have a 1951 Bowman of Sid Gorman. And there's some totals pages for 1951 Bowman. Then I get to 1993, and I'm looking right here. 1993 Bowman. It says I have a Manny Ramirez foil. Once, you know, in real life, when you have this all entered, you know, you'd be seeing dozens and dozens of cards listed. Here's that Bill Buckner from Fleer Baseball 1984 update that we just entered in a minute ago. It shows up in my inventory there. You know, normally you'd have a whole big list of the cards you have here. '61 Topps, I entered a Cubs team. You saw me do that, and there it shows up there in my inventory. Before I started recording, I entered in some 1989 Topps here. Dwight Gooden, Buddy Bell, Nolan Ryan. At that time, that Nolan Ryan card was worth 50 cents. Buddy Bell and Dwight Gooden were 3 cents each. I had entered in a Cecil Fielder from 1990 Topps Traded. And then my grand sum totals of all my sets that I had entered, all the cards I had entered at that time. So that's a quick rundown of what it could do. You know, it could just do that. That's what its capabilities were. But of course, you do it on a much larger scale with your entire collection. I know that my father-in-law was a Minnesota Twins collector, and he was going for Twins sets at the time I had this up and running, and we entered all his Twins in here. And then I was able to print out checklists for him to go out to card shows because we didn't live in the same city, and he took those with him and started looking for them and highlighting them as he got them. So that is the Card Collector by AbleSoft. This was 1993 I bought this. This was cutting edge, high-tech card collecting in 1993, guys. There was no more higher tech way to do it than to have a program on your computer like this. The alternatives were books, like Beckett magazines, where you'd circle what you needed or whatever. But this was the only computerized digital way to do things in 1993. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you were able to make it through the flashing. I apologize for that again. But have a great rest of your Saturday. Take care. Bye.